So I figured we could do what we did with Merle Haggard last time, where we do that 10 badass moments thing from Saving Country Music. That's what we did for Merle, so we could do the 10 badass Waylon Jennings moments, and then we'll get into the top songs by him.
Do it.
I was incredibly busy at work. I didn't get off. I did an 11-hour day today, so I did not have time to research him more than just doing the music. So I did not do that. So we're just going to cheat and do this instead.
Yay.
So first up, Waylon Jennings walked off the Todd Snyder show. In September of 1998, Waylon was scheduled to appear on The Late Late Show, hosted by Tom Snyder. Going into taping, Waylon was already a bit sideways with the situation because he thought he deserved a full-hour slot, but instead the show's producer had him share the show with Dr. Laura. When Dr. Laura's segment began to eat into Waylon's time even more, he walked off the set, leaving him hanging. Fuck yeah. See, this is... We talked about this on the Merle episode. I love, like, the people nowadays who are like, I'm an upcoming outlaw artist. It's like, no, you're not. Like, no. These guys are outlaws.
Yeah, it's supposed to mean something. It's not supposed to just be a descriptor of the sound.
Yeah. Then, number 2, he walked out on Chet Atkins. In 1972, Waylon Jennings wanted control of his music, which is also why they were called outlaws, because they wanted to do their own thing with their own music.
Yep.
So he hired a lawyer to get him out of his RCA, no, that was Willie Nelson got out of his RCA. So he hired the same lawyer that got Willie Nelson out of his contract to negotiate his thing. And he said... it was down to a $25,000 sum, and they weren't going to give it to me. We were sitting there, not a word spoken. Then the silence got unbearable. After a while, I couldn't take it anymore. I said, Chet, reaching over to a bowl on his desk, where'd you get these peanuts? Neil glared at me. Shut up, Waylon. You could hear a clock tick in the room. It never got quieter. Minutes passed. I rose up, never said a word, walked out. I went to the bathroom to take a leak. When I came back, Neil greeted me in the hall. You're a fucking genius, he said. Walking out like that, it sewed it up. That was the $25,000 piss.
I do remember hearing about that one, where he wasn't really even trying to do a negotiating tactic, but they thought he was walking out on the interview. He's like, I just had to piss, man.
It's so great. And number 3, he walked out of the 1970 CMA Awards. Granted, he walked out of a lot of CMA Awards. But he was scheduled to perform Only Daddy That'll Walk the Line. They said they were strapped for time. They wanted to cut the song to one verse and a chorus. They said, why don't I just dance across the stage and grin? Maybe one line. That'll give you a lot of time. Then they told me not to get smart. Either I did it, or I got out. I said, they said, we don't need you. I decided that was true, and I left.
That's awesome.
And then in 75, it happened the same, where he was up for 4 awards, including Entertainer of the Year. He won a bunch of shit, but Jesse Coulter didn't win anything. So when he got his certificate that said he won, he wrote "fuck you" and returned it to him. Which I know we've talked about before, because we talk about how, like, all these pop stars are always just like, I didn't get my award this year. Why didn't I get nominated? And it's just like, these guys, like, shit on those awards. Like, I don't need this. And today now people are whining like, why didn't I get mine?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's a different mentality. You know, the award shouldn't be the thing that proves to you that you did a good job and you're proud of yourself. It should be the fans and all that other stuff, and just knowing that you made great music.
Yeah. Next up is he sang with Big Bird on Sesame Street. Enough said. Then he played Ironhead Haynes on Married with Children. Enough said.
Nice.
Number 7, he corrupted Clint Black.
Attaboy.
He met up with Clint, I think, for like lunch or something. I'm not reading this entire thing because it's long. But it said pretty much after he was talking to Clint Black, he was just like, Clint pretty much got up from the table and says, I got to get rid of this goody two-shoes reputation. And then he just suddenly just did his own kind of shit, and it was great.
And became a huge star back in the day.
Number 8.
Clint Black.
Yep. Number 8, he started up a motorcycle in a hotel room at midnight. I'm guessing he was on the cocaine.
Or any of the numerous other types of things.
Yeah. And then number 9, I don't know why this is a badass moment, but he met Billy Ray Cyrus. Okay. And
All
then
right.
number
he
10
can
is...
break his heart on the fuck out of here.
Old Town Road, baby.
Old Town Road.
And then number 10, he wrote and recorded Are You Sure Hank Done It This Way? I won't elaborate on that one because we will get to that song in a little bit. Spoilers for the top 15. But yeah, so Waylon Jennings is an outlaw. He's a badass. If you haven't seen it, use your 7-day Cinemax trial and watch the Tales from the Tour Bus. Didn't he have a 2-part episode?
Yep.
Yeah,
he had a 2-parter, and so did George Jones.
Yeah, so definitely if you have the time, which you do, it's a free trial and you can use it. Watch the Waylon Jennings episodes because it talks even more about him and just how badass he was. And oh god, I love Waylon. So I'm very excited.
That reminds me that not to spoil the moment for anyone who watches the show, but the part when Waylon's son's talking about how George Jones was all drunk and yelling at Waylon saying that I'm the biggest country star on the planet, and then Waylon tied him to a tree. He's like, yeah, well, now you're tied to a fucking tree.
It's so stupid. But I love it. I remember the first time we watched that, we were like crying laughing because of how dumb that story was. But yeah, so Waylon is great, and I love him. And like we talked about, I think I just listened to the episode to remember how we did the episode, and I've already forgotten. But I'm pretty sure we talked about how you have a Hag tattoo because you're a huge Haggard fan.
I do.
And I have a Waylon tattoo because I'm an enormous Waylon fan, so I was super excited to do this episode, as obviously Kevin was for Merle.
Yes.
If you can hear the puppers barking in the background.
Also fans.
Yeah. Actually, well, they were going to originally be called Willie and Waylon, but we really wanted to call one Augie, so we just went with Augie and Willie. So Willie is named after Willie Nelson still, but Augie became Augie instead of Waylon. So at one point in my life, I will have a dog named Waylon still.
Yes.